Started on our daily collective read right about now. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Thursday, December 7th, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card that we are starting our day off with today. We love to see this card. We've got here, good morning indeed. We've got our Ace of Pentacles. This is showing a lot of tangible effort. Whatever you've been putting your effort and energy into today, we're going to see a lot of tangible results. This is a very good sign for anything that you're trying to move forward right now in the front of actual being able to see the results and the fruits of your labor. So putting a lot of that effort and energy in right now is going to be key. This also makes a lot of sense, my friends. As you may know, we've got that Mercury retrograde right a few days away right now. We've been seeing this energy has been having a bit of a different impact on masculine and feminine. I've been calling the feminine energies like modality through this has been feeling a little bit more like fast squirrel energy, trying to do as much as possible as quickly as possible. Some of that anxiety rising to the surface right now. But we like this because this is potentially going to feel like a little bit of that grounding that we want to see in the feminine energy, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. For masculine, this is going to be putting a lot of effort and energy in practical spaces and places. We're also not surprised to see this right now because, again, one of the things we've been seeing a little bit with the masculine energy over the last few days has been this moment of, again, I've been describing this energetically and spiritually right now. And this is why the masculine doesn't like to navigate the emotions so much, because masculine's been going around like holding a hammer, wanting to hit a nail with it and not having a nail to hit with it. Masculine can't feel an emotion and immediately find a solution for it. And even yesterday, we saw that something about what the masculine was feeling was almost creating that point of anxiety and frustration because there wasn't something that they could tangibly do to have an impact on what they were feeling. This is masculine basically finding something that they can put their attention into, and almost potentially some of that relief coming in, being like, finally, I can do something with some of these feelings I've been having. Masculine and feminine that are coming into divine union and partnership right now. This is literally the divine union. This is the divine union. It's here. It's formed. Why? Because it's becoming real in the environment around the masculine and feminine. What did I say was happening yesterday that was almost like the final gauntlet for a lot of these energies coming into divine union? It was specifically that circumstance and situation wherein the masculine may have started to bring forth the union to those around them, and seeing that it wasn't being received with arms wide open, but instead with a little bit of pushback. Feminine almost was anticipating that this was going to happen, was watching the masculine, if coming into divine union, to see how masculine navigated this. If this was a masculine that was allowing themselves to be moved by the crowd, to be moved by the energy around them, the energy that doesn't feel like the masculines like being in divine unions in their best interest, having that point of doubt or uncertainty, wanting to bring that doubt into something. If this was a masculine that allowed that doubt to shake their own thoughts, their own considerations in whether to move into divine union or not, this is feminine, masculine, and moving immediately back into separation. But if this was masculine that in the wake of that saw what was potentially occurring, even potentially identified it, potentially even said to the energy around them, like, why are you so concerned? Why don't you want to see me happy? Of course, what a silly thing to say. This is the masculine that, again, literally manifested the divine union into physical reality with their words becoming real. Feminine saw this. This was the confirmation that this is almost now out of the hands of the feminine, because this is feminine literally seeing the masculine making the idea of the divine union tangible in their experience. This is literally something that is feeling like it has become real, taking something ineffable and making it real. And the masculine did that through their own words, through energy that doubted it and being like, are you sure you want to do that? And masculine going like, well, yeah, of course. Why would you even say such a thing? Why would you doubt what I'm trying to manifest? I'm telling you what I'm doing here. Masculine coming into that modality right now. Feminine feels that sense of, again, that egg. Remember how feminine and masculine were holding the egg of the divine union? Feminine was keeping their mouth shut and trying to be very careful with it. Masculine was like shaking and running forward with it like this. And feminine's just like, oh my God, he's going to break it. He's going to break it. He's going to break. This is feminine being like, he didn't break it. This is feminine feeling that sense of accomplishment if the masculine, seeing the masculine doing this, because this feminine being like, by George, I think he's got it. He didn't break it. He continued to hold it in the face of the energy around them, trying to make it more difficult for him to hold it. So feminine feeling this right now is immediately feeling that potential wash of relief, because again, this is feeling the divine union actually becoming tangible, grounding into the reality of the experience of masculine and feminine. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Masculine and feminine that are in separation right now, this is effectively why you're moving into separation. This is why the feminine is effectively now leaving themselves open to new opportunities, new possibilities, and feminine is potentially seeing, like, this is literally potentially for a lot of feminine right now. This was the work that you needed to do to clear a lot of this karma. This is helping you recognize this, to be able to come into that point of clearance that is now leaving you fully open and fully invested in accepting new options and new experiences. This is that moment of feminine almost saying, like, I am fully invested. I am fully ready to move forward in this capacity, because feminine has effectively cleared that hurdle within the self that may have been holding them on to past situations and experiences. Masculine energy process right now. This is going to feel like a lot of deep inner work and a lot of setting one's own conviction. And for masculine right now, this is now a moment of taking that conviction and putting it into tangible reality. So for masculine right now, this is effectively this whole like journey you've been taking through the self is now helping you really articulate and amplify where you want to put your time, effort, and energy. And we see that for the energy and separation right now, masculine and feminine, this is that investiture right now in the tangible space, having cleared a lot of that cycle. Second card in our 5-card spread for today is Wheel of Fortune in its reversal. Masculine and feminine right now that are in divine union and partnership, this ain't going to feel as bad. This is not going to feel as difficult because it doesn't feel like things are moving as quickly as you may ideally desire. But that's okay, because what do I keep saying about the fact that this card being in its reversal, if you're in divine union and partnership, this is that feeling like the bus may be stopped somewhere, but as long as the view is nice, who cares? As long as you've got like a nice seat and you got like a nice sandwich, it's okay. You don't mind the fact that there's a stoppage point. This is why we almost saw that energy or effort of preparation right now. Again, masculine and feminine moving into that modality that's almost allowing them to almost want to slow things down. For masculine and feminine in divine union, it's almost about trying to slow things down right now, not speed things up. This is like literally like almost trying to like put the effort and energy in slowing things down, because that's that point. Because like, why are you going to speed things up if things are in a space or place that you like? It's like, it's okay. You got all you want to take all the time in the world. You just don't feel like you have it. So that's almost that feeling right now for masculine and feminine. Like the only thing about it is like things feeling like they're moving too quickly. Masculine and feminine that are coming into divine union right now, this is that moment that, again, it's going to potentially feel like a bit of relief coming into situations or circumstances, because, again, you recognize that there may be things that you'd like to do at this time, but you're not really feeling any particular rush to get anywhere. Where are you trying to go? You've already got it. You're starting to feel that sense of contentment because, again, feminine is feeling this right now because feminine's looking at something and seeing that there's some kind of change here. Potentially having that moment right now. And again, even now, we see that for some of the feminine energy, this is almost feminine energy feeling the anxiety and saying, I hope this lasts. For the feminine energy, it's not that they're not seeing what they desire right now. The only anxiety that we see that the feminine is having right now, if in divine union or coming into divine partnership, is going, seeing the masculine like doing what they want them to do, defending the divine union, and now feminine's almost like holding their breath going, like hoping that the energy can like, stay in this vibration, okay? Masculine and feminine that masculine energy in this modality, masculine moving in this way or direction right now, what we're effectively seeing is, again, this moment for masculine that is also this point that feels like there's some kind of shift occurring around you. Because again, if you're moving into divine union, this is that situation or circumstance that we're effectively identifying at this time, that again, you're feeling like things are changing around you, the partnership itself. And this is a bit of the hurdle. This could be feeling right now that there are things that are stopping around you because of the formation of the divine union. But again, it is that moment of recognizing that adjustment point is the differentiating factor between whether you're moving into divine union or not. What did I say is happening right now? Again, there's some moments right now where the divine union forming is shifting the landscape around the masculine. And this is that moment that it feels like it's being tested and challenged, because it's that moment of masculine looking at things and being like, I don't care. The value that I have in something right now is what I'm creating, versus being in spaces or places where the impact that it's having in their own experience right now feels like, oh, the cost is too great. Oh, it's shaking things up too much. Oh, I didn't expect it to actually change anything. This is that moment for masculine that does feel like a little bit more of that competition air coming in right now, because it feels like creating the divine partnership, amplifying that, has ripples. It creates an impact, which is like, yes, what you create has an impact on everything around you. And this is the moment for the masculine, which is observing and coming into either a point of acceptance with that, or feeling like, I don't want to interrupt the flow of anything around me. Oh, like, no. And that could be a moment that, again, you're moving back out of the divine union frequency. So again, feminine's kind of looking at the masculine right now, being like, I hope this stays. And masculine is looking at that moment right now and going, right? Continuing to get clarity on this for feminine that is moving forward in this way. This is feminine energy focusing right now and really digging their heels in as it relates to what it is that they effectively desire at this time. This is feminine energy that is really almost saying to themselves, regardless of anything that they feel from the past that they may have held on to, feminine's looking for something that feels tangible, that feels real, that feels like it is consistent. Consistency is key right now. The consistency is key, as well as an energy that is not afraid of disrupting the flow of their own life with the hurdle and burden of having a divine union in it. For the feminine in this modality, this is that conviction point, that affirmation that feminine is taking forward at this point, that is helping them as they navigate forward at this time. And it's coming from energy that recognizes that ability or degree of, again, wanting to point and bring something into actual visible fruition. Masculine energy in separation right now, this is potentially having that moment of observation on why something did not result in the way you expected it to. Because this, for the masculine energy, is recognizing the difference between saying something exists and something actually existing. This is like the logic problem to say, like, if you're in a relationship with someone, that you only tell one person that you're in a relationship with, and that's the person. If a tree falls in a woods and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound? If you're in a relationship with one person and no one else in the entire world knows that you're in the relationship with them, does it actually exist or doesn't it? For the masculine energy in this modality right now, this is almost observing the fact that your own ability to tangibly bring something forth into your own experience is almost this moment of building this sense of, again, recognizing that there's that point of adjustment. And for the masculine energy in this modality right now, it's that point of observation of, again, recognizing that to be able to actually have something, it actually has to be present, is now building your own conviction as it relates to where you're putting your time, effort, and energy at this time. Because there's a moment right now for masculine that you're potentially feeling that there's a wall you've created in yourself with your refusal to make something of manifest in the tangible space. Third card in our 5-card spread for today is World in its reversal. Masculine and feminine in divine union and partnership right now. This is that moment that we are effectively seeing that, again, this is about navigating points of disruption. This is about navigating any hurdles. Masculine and feminine energy right now that are in divine union and partnership. This is, again, being able to put practical effort, energy, and effort into spaces and places that require it at this time. And it is going to feel like a little bit of shop work. Masculine and feminine, there is a slowdown here that you're feeling. But again, it's not necessarily that bad a thing if you're going through that slowdown right now, if in the divine union frequency, specifically due to the fact that that space that it creates, the slowdown, gives you an opportunity to address other situations and circumstances that might require or demand your attention. Masculine and feminine in this modality right now, this is almost like a little bit of that like shop work that's coming in. What did I say that was happening for the energy and divine union right now? It's more about navigating anything that needs to be righted. It's a point of correction. It's not going to feel so heavy. It's not going to feel so even navigating some things that, and again, there might even be a point that if not for being in the divine union frequency, they would feel more overwhelming. But it almost feels now like something that you've got the space in place to put a lot of practical application in with the support of the divine union frequency. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now, this is that make or break point that we effectively see as potentially happening in relation to whether the divine union is forming. Because what we are identifying here is a moment where there is a point of observation that the divine union doesn't necessarily always just feel like smooth sailing. There's some rocky water that needs to be navigated here. The formation of the divine union is upsetting some energy around you, either metaphysically right now or tangibly. You drop a pebble in the water, there's going to be ripples, right? This is like you turning something that wasn't there into something that's there. And now you're seeing the fact that there is this somewhat of an effect that's happening around this right now. And what we're effectively seeing right now is, again, feminine is holding their breath to a certain extent watching this right now, because feminine almost was more at a point where they know that this is the type of thing that's going to occur. Feminine's watching to see if that disruption point is too great a burden to bear to the masculine. Feminine that's seeing this right now, again, if this is a masculine that's holding firm on their conviction on what it is that they truly want to manifest, they're feeling that sense of again, there's anxiety here, there's concern, there's anxiety on the part of the feminine about whether the consistency will remain. That is where a lot of this is coming from right now. There's also a point of the feminine, kind of seeing what that looks like. Masculine coming into partnership right now, you're feeling this. This is going to feel a little bit heavier for the masculine in this modality, and this is going to feel a little bit like trying to navigate some of those hurdles to a certain extent. Navigating that point is now a moment, and again, for the masculine energy that is staying in the divine union frequency, this is almost that point of observation and a point of understanding and being like, yes, when you make a choice to do something, things around it are going to be affected and change in kind. For masculine in that modality right now, this is almost that point of, again, for some of the masculine energy, the energy of masculine that's staying in divine union, this is going to feel like a little bit more of this moment of saying, like, did I stutter? Did I stutter? Right? It's going to be that point of holding firm through anything that feels like that point of disruption. For some of this energy right now, this is falling back into the separation frequency, into that point of anxiety, and letting the anxiety, the doubt, the fear, the niggling energy around you being like, are you sure? Really? Them? That? Really? Letting that get the better of you and being like, oh, no, I was just joking. I'm not going to do that. No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. No, I was just thinking about it. Right back into separation. Masculine, in separation right now, you might realize that this has occurred to you in the past. And again, for the feminine that's seeing the masculine saying, did I stutter, to the energy around them, that's feminine being like, because that's the feminine seeing that this is actually the divine union forming. Now, Masculine energy, if in separation, this could be that moment of realizing that there's been some points in the past where you were trying to go forward in something that you desired, but you let the outside influences impact your own desire of having something. For masculine going through this right now, that could be feeling like a lot of rough territory if you're having that point of observation right now. Because as I said, this is a moment that revelation, that understanding point, if it's happening on the tail end of something that's already occurred, this could really be shaking things up for you because it's affecting your own perception on where you find yourself in this moment. For the masculine in separation, it is that moment of, again, having some kind of key insight that feels like it's disrupting the balance of a lot of the things around you at this time. But also, it is a positive energy because it is a moment of recognizing something about the self that you did not effectively see. And something that is seen is something that can be corrected for. So we see that for a lot of the masculine energy right now, this could be a moment that is reaffirming that investiture. And I like this so much. An investiture in your own conviction. It's like Orpheus looking behind their shoulder. The conviction, having that point of conviction, having that steadfastness in what it is that you're trying to manifest through any doubts, through any fears. This is that moment of personal accountability and conviction coming through that's helping you recognize the value and significance of your own point of conviction, because it's that moment that you falter. It's that moment that you bring doubt into it. It's a moment that you let the external doubt enter the internal self, that you realize everything starts to erode. So for masculine going through this modality right now, this is a lot of that personal journey. Again, building and bearing on self and personal accountability. That is potentially reinvesting in yourself right now, but most importantly, reinvesting in your own conviction. Feminine in separation right now, this is that moment that you yourself are also continuing to invest in your own conviction. It's a little bit easier for feminine at this time because feminine feels like they've had this taken away from them, from energy that was not as invested in their own personal conviction. Masculine and feminine they're in divine union right now. This is more just, again, this is not necessarily as heavy energy. This energy is not heavy. It's more about just navigating some things that just feel like they need to be addressed. Okay. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Beautiful. Next card we've got coming through right now is Devil in its reversal, because again, what is happening right now? Beautiful work, healing. Unhealthy coping mechanisms, bad modalities of thoughts, unhealed karmic connections. Letting this be a point of putting practical application and positivity where you find yourself in the present moment to amplify and allow for some of that peace to not just enter within the self right now, but around anything around you. This is almost that moment. It's not about the fact that there is a point of disruption that's currently happening right now, and especially even for, and this is beautiful, I have to stress this right now, for the energy in divine union right now, this is all about taking negatives and turning them into positives. For masculine and feminine energy right now in divine union, there's almost like this extra, again, you got this little extra bit of energy around you right now that you don't need to put immediately into keeping the divine union going, because the divine union's just running on that battery of the divine union. It's letting you address some things that feel like they're more like critical blockages that you're trying to work on. And a lot of that is alchemizing anything that feels like it is creating a source of chaos and confusion in it right now. But what we like right now for the energy in divine union is it's doing so in a very healing fashion. It's putting a lot of care and attention right now into where those disruption points are and saying, what can we do to heal that? What can we do to fix it? What can we do to make that better? It's looking, again, this is almost a masculine and feminine energy doing the work that they've done in the actual partnership, looking for the cracks so they can pour gold into it. And now doing it in anything around them. Saying, this is great. It's great that we're doing it for ourselves. Where can we do it around us right now? How can we help in other aspects? Where can we do this for others so that we can kind of share what we've learned in doing this for ourselves? How can we help that right now? So even with a lot of the energy right now that's coming towards masculine and feminine in this modality, it's almost immediately coming towards them with this desire and need to try to heal those rifts, to heal those difficulties, to heal those hurdles. And for a lot of the masculine and feminine energy in divine union right now, the only problem is almost like a lot of that energy coming towards them in this way. Like being like, hi, so continuing and feeling like, again, there's a lot of that feeling of being able to have to kind of come to the aid of those around you right now. Masculine and feminine that are moving into divine union right now, this is that moment that, again, is either amplifying if this is actually real, if this is something that actually feels like it's moving into the divine union frequency. Because, again, if this is masculine energy that is moving into the divine union frequency and they're bringing it to others right now, and instead of the energy around them amplifying some sense of happiness, joy, positivity for them moving into this vibration, if instead masculine is seeing energy around them that feels like they are more negative, that feels like they are more unhappy, that are feeling like they're not happy for the energy in this way, this is masculine having potentially that enlightenment moment in seeing something and saying, why aren't you happy for me? Why aren't you happy for me? Why aren't you sharing my joy? Why aren't you sharing my abundance that I'm trying to tell you that I'm creating at this time? For the energy right now that's moving into divine union, it's almost that point of observation that's happening in terms of identifying and articulating anyone or anything that feels like they're not moving into that state or space of positivity in what you're trying to create, and looking at it right now and almost saying and trying to understand what the source of the problem is. Why would they be in that modality? And masculine and feminine are potentially even navigating this right now because it's almost a point of observation in feeling like there's some unhealthy energy being directed towards the formation of the divine union. But again, what we like with the energy of the divine union, it's almost like taking that like carefree attitude, not looking at it at a state or space of like wanting to push back against it, which would indicate some kind of like, putting care and attention. It's literally almost being like, because again, the lack of care almost amplifies the fact that this isn't a divine union being created for like retribution against anyone else. It's almost that moment of being like, who cares? That's weird. Who cares? It doesn't need to even react to it. The masculine and feminine, they're moving in the divine union frequency, are almost saying like, our job is to observe it, but not to amplify it. Our job is not to like let that interrupt what we're trying to create for ourselves. And again, almost that like, it's going to feel like water off a duck's back, right? It's that water off a duck's back. An observation point, but carrying on, carrying forward, not matching the energy, but just letting it slide off. That is, again, almost effectively showing to the energy in divine union. And feminine, again, if feminine's seeing this right now, if feminine's not seeing a masculine being like, oh, they didn't like that, so I'm going to do this, or I'm going to go talk to them, and I'm going to do this. If feminine's seeing and making sure that the masculine isn't using the divine union as an act of retribution against someone, or trying to use it to like motivate a conversation. If instead masculine is just being like, I don't care, it's fine. Just sliding off of this. I'm not going to put my time and effort and energy in it. I just need to ignore it. Then feminine is getting that affirmation point that, again, that this isn't a divine union that's being formed to like, show someone or being used as a value point, but instead is almost this moment of feminine recognizing that masculine is working with the priority of protecting the energy of the union. Masculine, this could be feeling like a little bit more of a trigger point to you, because there could be a moment right now where something does kind of rise up in you, and like, again, either wanting to use this as a reaction point, want to investigate like what that thing is. But again, if this is masculine, just being like, no, they'll get used to it. I'll convince them. They're just going to have to deal with it. If masculine's more in that vibration, then you're staying in the divine union frequency. Because again, it's that moment that like your priorities are not in like utilizing the divine union as like a struggle point. It's just about protecting the divine union. Continuing for feminine in separation right now, this is why feminine's healing. Feminine energy is observing all of these aspects from the past experiences, and that's amplifying to the feminine their own conviction in finding some energy of that understands and appreciates all of the work that needs to go into maintaining a divine union. This is literally feminine, like building that like lesson planner for themselves as they go forward from this point through past observation of experiences to help them navigate on their way. Masculine, if in separation right now, there could be an observation, as I said, about your own fickle or fragile conviction to something. That moment and recognizing it's the minute that you start to lose your own conviction that everything starts to erode. And this could be a moment of, again, masculine learning the value and power of your own ability to manifest into your life and how important it is for you to almost like continue to focus on what that core is. Because the minute you start to deviate away from that core, the minute you start to deviate away from the divine union being the priority, it's like you just immediate slide back into separation. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. And this is nice because this point of observation, though it may be coming at a great cost right now in terms of like reckoning about your own self and your past, it's giving you what you need as a point of healing and strength to go forward from this. Fifth card in our 5-card spread for today is, what did I say? The completion of a cycle. And the interesting thing about the completion of this cycle is not that it's going to make things easier. It's making things harder, right? It's making things harder. But again, it is the conviction of what you are choosing to carry forward at this time that signifies the value point. Because this is the cycle that starts. It's almost like this is the letting go of childish things to come into a point of deeper investiture and conviction. Masculine and feminine energy right now, this is that feeling of the divine partnership, almost in a way creating the space or place of almost saying to yourself, like, now our real work begins, right? Like now our real work begins. Now that we have, we're in this divine union. Masculine and feminine energy almost realize that it's not the fact that things get easier when you're in divine union. It's that you got a whole bunch of different new burdens. You got all kinds of new things to deal with that you didn't necessarily have to deal with or when you're in separation. But again, in a way, that's okay. It's like recognizing the different homework. It's like you're in a different class. It's like you're in this class now. You're in like the AP class. So you have to do with this homework in the divine union class. It's a little different. It's a different burden. But again, masculine and feminine in that frequency, working and almost like sharing and shouldering that burden to a certain extent, because it's almost that sense of observing that there's almost a lot of energy that's coming towards you. This is almost like a lot of people coming towards you if you're in that divine union frequency who are like, I heard you guys pass this assignment. Can you give me some insight on how you passed this assignment? Because I am like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, this is almost like kind of that energy that's happening right now for the energy in divine union. Divine union's like, yes, like that's literally almost, this is a mask, the divine union energy being like, of course, like that's what, like this is recognizing that in a way shows a level or degree of accomplishment because it's a shifting or change in terms of what you feel like you have to carry. Masculine and feminine right now that are coming into divine union or partnership. This is that moment that we see. Feminine is watching the masculine right now coming into divine union. And for the feminine energy that's still moving into divine union right now, this is a masculine. They're literally watching the masculine have some of these effects or impacts that are happening in their life right now as this divine union's forming. And feminine is literally almost like watching the masculine to see if the masculine's going to hold firm in their conviction of what they desire right now in the face of forces or energy around them that is trying to shake their resolve in one way or another. And this is the identification point for the feminine right now as to whether this is masculine energy that is ready to heal, that's truly ready to come into divine union, or if this is masculine energy that is going to like slip back in, like fall into that wind, allow something to knock them off of the course due to the fact that their own anxiety and fear and that feeling of the energy around them not being as like positive about it is going to like pull them in that direction. So for feminine right now, if they're seeing a masculine that's holding forth right now, holding strong, defending and protecting what it is that they're creating right now in the face of energy that may feel less than positive about it, this is feminine immediately feeling that amplification and seeing here that sense of conviction and being like, now we can begin. This is now a feminine that's feeling that security and strength coming in, because this is a feminine saying, this is an energy that just showed me and proved to me that they understand that we're not doing this because it's easy. We're doing it and it's going to be hard. Masculine, and if you're in this modality right now, you may be feeling this. And this could be a moment right now, if you're feeling this and seeing and experiencing this and you're staying in the divine union frequency, this could be feeling like a little bit of a point of recognizing that something feels a little amiss here, because it's almost that moment of trying to hold on to something that you feel is very precious, but feeling a lot of oppositional energy around you as you do so. And potentially recognizing in a way and saying to yourself, if you see this, wait a minute, this is something that I value. Why is the energy around me having a problem with it? And this is that moment that is almost, again, enforcing to the energy. Masculine realizing that a divine energy, a divine union energy, is one that needs to be protected, that needs to be worked through, that needs to be held to very strongly in the force of hard winds. And this is masculine, again, building that sense of conviction, almost saying to the energy around them, did I stutter? This is what I want. This is what I'm creating for myself. This is not open to opinion or feedback. This is my choice that is creating that space now of the divine union actually taking form. Masculine and feminine. Feminine in separation right now. This is that point of observation, and it does feel like a release process, because this could be a feminine that feels to a certain extent that a masculine lacked that ability to do so. That there's something that they're releasing, of recognizing that there may have been a feeling, and why the feminine may be holding on to something so much is feminine not just having that moment that feels so painful right now in terms of losing some connection with masculine, but almost feeling the frustration, the anger of weight of having felt that moment of activation that was starting to occur, and a masculine that effectively allowed it to dissolve. And this is, again, a feminine that's reaffirming to themselves that the reason that they still may feel a connection to some of that energy was because it got so close. It got so close to being able to reach that point. But again, feminine almost reminding themselves, clearing the karmic cycle by saying the energy itself did not have the conviction to hold the divine union strong enough. Their hands were not strong enough to hold on to the divine union in the face of the winds of the energy around them. And that is what is allowing the feminine to move forward on their journey and say to themselves that the masculine they're potentially letting go of, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, lack the conviction of being able to hold on to something in the force of the energy around them. Masculine, if in separation right now, this could be feeling like a moment that does feel somewhat heavy. Because this is a moment that you may be observing that something in your past was something that was precious to you, that you're now potentially acknowledging you lost, not even due to your own desire to have it, but instead due to your lack of ability or resolve of holding on to something in the wake of forces around you that convinced you that you didn't actually want it. And in that modality right now, this is that sense of conviction that you are learning about yourself right now that may be feeling very hard and heavy, but also is reaffirming that this is a journey of the self, because it is almost a moment of observing that is a point of saying to oneself that you'll never allow it to happen again. So again, this is either going back to reclaim something like that was lost, or now understanding what you need to do to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Ace of Pentacles in combination with our Wheel of Fortune in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. Seven of Swords in its reversal. Masculine and feminine that are in The divine union frequency, this is that moment that, again, grounding in the present, holding on to what you're creating for yourself at this moment. It is the value point. The divine union is your priority. It is what you're working to protect. It is what you focus on. And again, one of the only issues and hurdles right now is, again, almost trying to slow down, having the time that you need to be able to do everything that you need to do. Doesn't even necessarily feel like a bad thing right now. More than anything, a lot of it is almost reaffirming your own sense of conviction at this time. It's almost reaffirming your own sense of purpose. It's like the divine union itself is your priority right now. It is your highest ideal. And in a moment right now, we're effectively seeing that even with a lot of this energy coming through right now, with this retrograde coming up right now, that's already starting to flash its head, if you will. It's almost this moment that we're seeing that it's almost just reinvesting. It's almost like reaffirming. It's a reinvestment moment before the retrograde even comes in, of like, never again. And again, for a lot of the energy of masculine and feminine divine union right now, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, it's almost just this observation point on like the past that's reaffirming to you how much better the present is. It's almost like that sense of being like, that this is not that, and that this is good, and this is okay. This is about making this last, holding on to this, and not allowing us to slip back into old bad patterns, old bad modalities of thought. This is like a lot of that like ever forward mentality right now that the divine union energy has, recognizing that it doesn't require you to be perfect. It just requires you not to repeat the mistakes of the past. It's almost like that continual evolution, if you will. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. This is that moment we're seeing. This is that make or break moment, and feminine is watching masculine right now. And it's really hard for feminine because this is feminine energy that may have been at this point before with other masculine energy, which is why we see that the feminine is like this right now. Because this is a feminine that knows they can't step in. This is the feminine just watching to see if this is a masculine that truly recognizes and understands that they need to be able to hold forth in the power of the divine union frequency in the face of the energy around them, creating that friction point, trying to shake it out of their hand. And this is a feminine almost looking and saying, is this an energy that is going to hold fast? Allow this to be the breaking of that pattern to ascend, or is this an energy that's going to slip right back into it? Is this an energy that's going to slip back into that modality of separation? Is this an energy that's going to just allow themselves to fall right back down to where they were, allowing the outside forces, the outside energy to literally pull them away from what the feminine is building with the masculine? Masculine, you're feeling that right now. You're feeling that weight around you. If you're in this right now, you're literally having energy around you that is pulling you out of that. It's trying to pull you out of it. The problem, again, for the energy that's coming into divine union right now, you could be seeing this now. This could even be a masculine that's feeling that, but also recognizing it. If you're coming into divine union, you're recognizing that that's effectively happening. And that in itself is helping, because now this is a moment of the masculine feeling that this is the weight of the personal choice coming into play. Masculine and feminine that are in separation right now, this is why feminine is not going back to situations and circumstances right now. It's even a moment that feels very painful for feminine because, as I mentioned, this isn't even a feminine that puts all the blame on the masculine that they did not have the divine union form. This is feminine almost feeling the weight of something that came so close to forming. It was so almost there. They could taste it. It was so close. And it was pulled away from them at the last moment. And again, feminine feeling the weight of a masculine that lacked the conviction in the last moment prior to something forming because of the energy around them, seeing that the divine union was forming. And basically, again, feminine feels the joint weight of a masculine who feels like it was their choice to do so. But feminine almost recognizing and realizing that it wasn't their choice. But recognizing that, again, even that point of lack of recognition shows a masculine that lacks the conviction to hold on to something in the face of the energy around them that shows that to a certain extent they were not ready. So again, for feminine energy in this modality right now, this is coming to peace. It is allowing for the closure of the cycle and reaffirming to themselves that even though they recognize what happens fully, this is a feminine energy that fully understands it. They're also affirming to themselves they're not going back to those circumstances and situations because they know they could not change them. Masculine energy, if in separation right now, this is that moment of potential a personal accountability. And again, it could feel very heavy because you yourself in separation are getting better optics and ability we're seeing for some of the masculine energy was there. And you feel like it also vanished, and you're doing a lot of work right now to try to ascertain and assess what went wrong. And now you're potentially seeing all of the pieces around you and recognizing again, that something about these circumstances and situations weren't just you making a choice, but being influenced by the energy around you. And this is that moment that, again, it feels like a point that could be very poignant right now for the masculine energy, because that moment of poignancy is the recollection and the understanding of feeling like something was taken away from you and it wasn't even your choice. It's almost looking right now at the energy around you that may have had a part in that. And more than anything, it is now almost firming up your own conviction in your desire. The lesson is coming through. Again, it's almost like feeling that frustration of something coming a little too late. That point of understanding. And this is either leading to a moment right now of reminding oneself the value and importance of being able to hold on to a conviction in the face of energy that is going to try to disrupt it. Continuing, but again, almost a moment right now of, again, like not wanting to repeat those mistakes, not wanting to have to learn that lesson again, is now shaping what you're effectively going to do now that you come into that space or place of understanding. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Wheel of Fortune in its reversal, in combination with the World card in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Seven of Pentacles in its reversal. Now, masculine and feminine energy that are in divine union and partnership right now, one of the challenges or hurdles that we're effectively seeing to a certain extent right now effectively has to do with, again, feeling that point of frustration as it relates to things moving on the timeline that you want right now. Guys, as I'm saying, this is a little bit less heavy if you're in divine union right now, because again, you do have time. But in a way, it's like that need right now. Like what is happening right now in the energy of the divine union, that's that point of frustration. It's almost that moment that you've got so much that you want to do, you don't feel like you have enough time to do it. Right now, it's almost this moment that for the energy in divine union, you've got so many different like irons in the fire. You've got so many different places and spaces that are demanding your attention to a certain extent, that it makes it very hard to like focus on any one thing. But in a way, you know, the biggest frustration point right now is almost starting to feel that like retrograde slowdown on everything right now, because it's not even the fact that you don't feel like you have enough time, but it's almost like feeling the weight of not seeing things moving on the timeline that you would effectively aspire and desire for right now. So this is just trying to navigate or mitigate some kind of feelings of externalized chaos right now, even if you're in the divine union frequency. And some of it I will express may come through right now with some feelings of impatience. So if you are in divine union right now, I want you to be very mindful of being patient with each other, because you guys are sharing this. It's an equal feeling. You're both going through this together. Let that be that point of observation. Be patient, okay? Now, masculine and feminine right now that are coming into divine union, what we are effectively seeing is this is that moment. And for feminine, this is a moment that feels very much like this is it. This is that moment, that break point, that point of seeing if what the feminine's been investing in is going to show the ability to bear that fruit, to be able to bear the divine union. For the feminine in this modality right now, there's a moment where they're watching the masculine right now, going through that moment of seeing the outside energy threatening the divine union that's forming here. And this is feminine basically waiting to see if this is a masculine that's going to show the ability, if they've learned this lesson, if they've captured this ability to hold through in this, or if they're going to let that wind blow everything that they've been creating away. If they're going to let that outside energy just take away all of it in one foul swoop. The minute it started to show the minute it started to rise up out of the ground. And it's all about how the masculine is expressing it. If this is a masculine that's trying to pull it away again, is trying to hide it from the world again, then this is a feminine that immediately says this is not going into the divine union. This is a masculine energy that is too worried about the energy around them to bring something new for themselves into being. This is a masculine energy that wants to keep their options open, doesn't want this to impact anything, doesn't want a relationship or a situation to actually have an effect on their life, i.e., this is a feminine saying, I've seen this before. We know where this is headed. This is not really a divine union. This is a cultivated experience. This is not a divine union. This is a hothouse flower. This is not something that actually matters. It is something that is kept. Feminine, that modality just moves away back into separation. Masculine energy, if moving into divine union right now, this is that moment that is effectively identified and recognized. Again, that point of observation. If there's something that you're trying to bring into fruition right now, and it's meeting opposition, this is either a point of revelation and understanding, of clarity coming through, and understanding and seeing, wait, the energy around me doesn't like it when I create something that feels like it's not in their best purpose. This is something of masculine, either seeing this, utilizing this as a point of insight, in which case, congratulations, you're moving. And in a way, if anything, if the masculine observing this is going to fortify it. This is potentially that moment, if you're seeing it, that this is that moment of masculine being like, wait a minute. This is something I want, and this is something I'm willing to defend. This is something that I'm not doing because of the others. I'm doing this for myself. Congratulations, you're continuing forward in divine union. Masculine energy that is allowing that energy to sweep it away. This is almost, again, potentially feeling like you're now navigating chaos, because now you're almost like backpedaling, being like, no, I'm not really doing that. I'm not really doing that. Oh, no. And like, no, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, you just, like, your sandcastle. It's a sandcastle. And it's only a sandcastle because you just identified it as a sandcastle. It's like you tried to show someone something. You said, look, I'm building a tower. Like, I'm building a castle for myself. And someone said, that looks like a sandcastle. And you went, oh, it's a sandcastle. Gone. And feminine's just watching potentially to see if that's going to happen or not. Feminine, if in separation right now, feminines watch this happen. And this is why we see that this is a feminine trying to ground in reality, because it's almost a feminine recognizing that there wasn't the possibility of something beautiful being created there with an energy. It was seeing someone that wasn't able to protect something enough and just letting it blow away. And the feminine almost affirming again to themselves a point of recognition in fully embracing that, so that they can have the valuable lessons so they don't let it happen again. And almost feminine recognizing to a certain extent that there's some aspect of this that they can't control. There is a wait and see approach that they effectively need to take to a certain extent to see if the masculine is going to be able to hold firm in that capacity. Feminine's almost accepting that that is a part of their burden to bear whenever they're trying to move into divine union. Masculine, you might be recognizing this right now. Again, this could be a moment that feels like a lot of things you're seeing right now. And this could be a lot of this energy looking at a lot of past experiences in your past and feeling some kind of weight or frustration, because some of this is almost going to feel like less like something that you chose, but now almost looking at some experiences and wanting to externalize it and feeling more like somebody took something very valuable away from you. And maybe not just once, maybe on multiple occasions. Continuing to get clarification on, but again, something observed is something that can be corrected. Masculine, continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between the World card in its reversal in combination with the Devil card in its reversal. May I please have one card clarify? It's already here. We've got here our Page of Cups. Page of Cups. Masculine and feminine in divine union and partnership. This is that moment right now that, again, this is, and I think that this is one of the benefits of the divine union, honestly. The benefit of the divine union is, like, even though there's a lot of potential chaos right now around the energy of the divine union, it's like you're in that healing frequency. It's that moment that, again, the supportive system of the divine union is not the fact that everything is perfect. It's like, it's almost that affirmation or commitment that there isn't a problem that you can find that you're not going to find some way to solve. It's almost like immediately feeling that, recognizing, feeling that wave of support and feeling that sense of being like the energy around you has your back. The energy around you is there to catch you. It's like, it's not that feeling that you're not falling. It's the feeling of feeling like you're falling at every moment, but also feeling at the same time that you know at every moment that there are hands underneath you to catch you as you fall. Those that you're not necessarily falling, you're more like, flying. It's like, because you're not going to hit the bottom. And this is that moment that almost like allows for that center, even in the middle of something that can feel chaotic, of feeling that wave of delight, of enjoyment, because it's almost that moment of not letting yourself wear the anxiety of something so much as remembering when that anxiety arrives, that support is there. It's like seeing, looking down and seeing the hands like underneath you going like this the whole time as you're moving in this way. Again, almost makes it easier to navigate those difficulties. Because it feels like there's a net underneath you. And that is the divine union. And that almost in a way helps you almost take a bit more of a cavalier approach to circumstances and situations. Now, for feminine energy in this modality right now, this is going to be a bit harder. But this is almost the masculine immediately trying to amplify the feminine if in divine union. If this is feminine that is expressing that their own anxieties, their own doubts, their own lack of perfection, their own fear. This is almost masculine, almost immediately coming forward and saying, our job is not to be perfect. Our job is not to be perfect. Our job is just to do the best that we can. And giving each other this message is helping navigate any of this feeling and helping to find and isolate the joy on the way. Masculine and feminine that are trying to come into divine union and partnership right now, this is the weight of the energy around the divine union, trying to trivialize the divine union, because there is energy, and feminine is seeing this right now. There is energy that would prefer to have the masculine in a source of being a source of delight, of being a source of pleasure, of being in a point of easement. Why? Because an energy like this is fun. A fun energy is fun for people. Energy doesn't like to see masculine energy going into divine union, because then the fun is gone, right? And feminine literally sees the masculine, like feminine sees this aspect of the masculine that the masculine can't see in itself, that the energy around them, and this is what the feminine is almost trying to amplify to the masculine. If the masculine goes to the feminine right now and says, it's really weird, these energies around me, they're like giving me some like static about going into divine union. This is almost immediately what the feminine is trying to say to the masculine, and it's going to feel a little bit like, hey, like hitting them with like a baseball to a bat to a certain extent, like Punch and Judy, being like, the reason they want you to stay out of divine union is because you're a lot more fun when you're not in divine union. Yeah, you see, you're like, no, like this is like this is literally feminine being like, are you like literally wanting to like honk masculine on the head with this? Being like, how can you not see this? Like kind of energy. Like, this is literally feminine being like, it is as plain as the nose on the face. And if you haven't noticed it up until this time, then, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is literally feminine almost shaking their head and being like, well, that's weird. I wonder why that is. I wonder why that is. Masculine, if you're moving into partnership and you're actually telling the feminine energy about this instead of like falling for it, instead of like moving to the wind, this is literally feminine saying to you, you dope. Like, no offense. It's literally saying the reason, like someone literally like writing on a chalkboard, like, I can't believe I have to tell you this. The reason they do not want you in a divine union is because you're a lot more fun if you're not. You know? Like, again, it's really like that joke, like, be a lot cooler if you didn't. It's literally a bunch of energy going around to masculine right now, going into divine union, and masculine's going, I'm going into divine union, and all the energy around masculine is like sitting there in like a Mustang going, be a lot cooler if you didn't. Cooler for who? Cooler for who? Masculine in this modality coming in divine union, and they're going, cooler if you didn't, and you're going, oh, you're probably right. It would be cooler if I didn't. I'm being dumb. I should continue with all the cool people. And this is masculine going right back into separation. And the feminine seeing that right now, feminine's looking at masculine being like, you just let go of the opportunity of divine union that was so close we could taste it because you couldn't heal, because you couldn't see the fact that someone wants to keep you in this foolish energy. And feminine is almost saying, I can't do anything about that. That's their choice. This is how the feminine energy in separation is healing, and being like, that person wants to be in that energy. They want to be in that space. Feminine's like, I can't fix that. Feminine's saying, I can't fix it. I can't change it. Can't adjust it. They're making the conscious choice to continue in that energy. To be the cool part, to be the fun one. And feminine's like, if they want to be fun, great. They can be hilarious. If they want to be funny, they can be hilarious. Feminine is going forward on their journey. That's how the feminine is healing this, because they're looking at the energy that would manifest this, almost like someone who would turn down the promise, the possibility of something great for something absurdly silly. Masculine in this modality, you may be feeling this to a certain extent right now. This could be feeling like, again, a cup that you're holding that's got a fish in it. You're looking at something right now and saying, why did I choose this? What is this? Like, what is this? What is this choice that I've made up until this point? Because it's a moment of potentially choosing your pleasure over something that really may have had density and weight. And for masculine energy in this modality right now, we see here that there also is potentially a moment, and this could be feeling very difficult, of feeling like outside energy that wanted to keep you in that modality also help maintain that for you. And that's why we see that this point of personal conviction is causing a lot of shifts, not just internally right now, but how you're potentially perceiving the energy around you at this moment. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Devil card in its reversal in combination with our 10 of Wands. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our 8 of Cups in its reversal. Masculine and feminine that are in divine union and partnership right now. This is not going to be, again, this is not necessarily something that feels as difficult, because this is something that, like, again, it's more of that center that you're working on. Everything that we see here for the energy that's in divine union right now is almost coming through to a certain extent in terms of recognizing obstacles, but not letting those obstacles weigh you down. It's almost committing oneself for taking the long way. You know? This is masculine and feminine energy and divine union and partnership saying, like, It's okay if there's not a shortcut to where we're going. We'll take the long road. If the divine union requires the energy to take the long road, it's almost that moment of masculine and feminine saying that's okay, because we don't mind the journey. We're doing this for the sake of the journey. We're doing the sake of being together through the difficulties and the easements, not because the divine union causes a shortcut. It's almost that moment of recognizing that this is the journey of healing that you're embarking on together. And that's just that moment of recognizing that that's the assignment. This is almost other energy coming towards you and being like, what's the cheat code? What's the shortcut? And masculine and feminine in divine union, almost looking at the energy around them right now that's coming to them and being like, there's no shortcut, you dope. Like, there's no shortcut. It's the opposite. You got to do the work. You got to do the assignment. You got to choose to do the assignment every day. There's no cheating it. You got to just do it. You got to embody it. Like, right? Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. What we are effectively seeing is that moment of observation. Feminine already knows this. Feminine was waiting for this. Feminine was anticipating that this moment was going to happen. And this is the moment that feminine is really trying to see if the divine union can put the rubber on the road, because this is the moment of the divine union being like ground tested, if you will. Like you're actually putting it out there to see. Feminine's trying to see if masculine realizes that, again, there's something about being a divine union that might not make things easier. It might make things a little bit more challenging. And this is that moment for feminine that is almost amplifying to see right now if masculine is willing to really invest in the effort, the energy that it takes to actually keep a divine union going, or if masculine's going to look for a shortcut. If this masculine's going to try to cut a few corners. If the masculine's like, well, maybe we don't have to tell everybody. Maybe we don't do this. Maybe we don't do that. Maybe, if the masculine is now dialing back on what they were trying to invest in, if this is a masculine that's retracting, if the feminine sees that this is a masculine that was so eager and suddenly out of the blue, they're starting to be more hesitant, feminine doesn't even need to see that doesn't even need them to tell them. Feminine already sees it like the nose on their face that this is what's happening. That this is a masculine that went to put something forward, felt that pushback, that resistance, and they lacked the conviction, and now they're adjusting because of the energy around them, putting their little hands on it. And this is feminine saying, again, moving right into separation, if not. But if this is feminine energy that is seeing a masculine right now, masculine, if you're going through this right now, and instead of seeing a bunch of energy around you that's like you're trying to move into divine union, a bunch of energies like, be a lot cooler if you didn't, and you're going, no, it wouldn't, but noted. It's almost that moment that feminine is almost seeing, again, this is a masculine that actually is willing to do the work. This is a masculine that's willing to be like, you guys keep going. I'm cool. I'm good here. This is a masculine that actually is invested in the divine union. And again, much like the energy in divine partnership already is amplifying to the feminine. They're not doing it because it's easy. They're willing to invest in the divine union and recognizing that it's going to be a long road to hoe. It's going to make things, it's going to be taking the long road on things, energetically, spiritually. But again, it's the fact that you don't do it. You're not getting in the divine union to get somewhere faster. The divine union is the destination. It's not the vehicle. Okay? Continuing, feminine in separation right now. This is effectively why. This is a feminine separation. This is feminine energy that feels like they're healing from something, especially if this was an energy that, again, wasn't showing the ability, the conviction to actually hold that point of consistency in terms of what they desired on that long journey. This is feminine energy, again, feeling that sadness. They feel like, again, the point about this, it feels so hard for the feminine in this modality is feeling like something came very close to being a divine union, but was taken away at the last moment. But feminine energy almost reaffirming that because it could be taken away so quickly, it was never really there. It was never really there. because that was the most important part. Masculine in this modality right now, this is potentially a moment of recognizing what has been blocking you in your own self right now, but also the energy around you from coming into divine union. And it is that point of observation that, again, even if in separation right now, feels like an act of healing, because it is now, again, a boundary, a hurdle that is recognized, is a hurdle that can be overcome. And we see here that for a lot of the masculine energy in separation right now, this is setting your intention and your conviction to either knock down that hurdle or to make sure moving forward you don't necessarily have it occur again. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Between our Seven of Swords in its reversal, in combination with our Seven of Pentacles in its reversal, double sevens. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Knight of Wands in its reversal. Masculine and feminine that are in divine union and partnership right now. This is that moment that, again, a lot of this has to do with some feelings right now in terms of frustration that are potentially popping up right now. Especially, I'm seeing here for the masculine energy if in divine union right now. Because one of the things that we're effectively seeing is some feelings of frustration as it relates to things that you're trying to bring towards you right now, but feeling like they are slowed down or they're not moving at the speed that you would effectively ideally desire at this point. There's a moment right now of really trying to ground and center in those points of enjoyment. Masculine specifically, what we almost see here is, what did I say that's happening in divine union right now? These blockages, they don't feel as mission critical. It's almost a moment right now about finding productive things to do in those points of slowdown. For masculine specifically, we see here, this is almost a moment that is almost amplifying your own creativity, your own sense of ease. It's going to be a little bit easier for the masculine right now that's going through this period if in divine union, because it's almost this moment that we see the masculine is utilizing this as a point of really kind of channeling forward on their passion, their communication. This is like, again, almost looking for these new opportunities in the state of any slowdown. Feminine, this could also be a moment, it does feel a little bit more triggering for the feminine, because we see here that something about this slowdown feels a little bit more challenging for the feminine right now, because we see here that this is, again, feminine doing a lot of that internal processing right now, almost creates this space or place for the feminine right now, where, again, they are feeling challenged, but this is going to come through right now more as a feeling of frustration for the feminine, potentially even, again, amplifying and moving towards the masculine right now to try to channel that feeling of frustration into more productive outlets. So even we see here for the feminine and masculine in divine partnership right now, this is almost like taking that frustration and putting it into some more creative or passionate endeavors. I'll let you guys interpret that as you will. Masculine and feminine that are moving into divine union and partnership right now. This is that moment that is not going to feel as much as a sense of like finding like things to do, as so much as like this is like the making and breaking of the divine union energy. Because this is that moment that we are effectively identifying that for the energy that's coming into the divine partnership at this moment, this is that moment of observation. Again, feminine is watching which direction the masculine is going to go right now. Masculine's own passion is being challenged here. Feminine sees this. This is feminine literally watching at this point of frustration to see if this is a masculine that is going to that old energy, going back into the separation frequency, going back into that space or place. Feminine is literally at this point right now of coming into divine union where they are watching and waiting to see which way the masculine moves. Masculine, this is that moment because it does. It almost feels like this, like, again, it's almost like the divine union frequency is being tempted at its core with some kind of temptation to go back to situations and circumstances from the past at this moment. And for the masculine energy at this time, this is either a moment that your own conviction is being tested by means of your creativity, your desire. And this for the masculine right now is all about, again, it feels like a personal moment. Are you going back into that vibration of separation, letting that doubt seep in? Or are you letting it reinvigorate you, drive you even further towards the goal, which is the divine union? Feminine energy in separation right now, this is that moment. If in separation, this is why we see the feminine is not going back to a masculine that is in this vibration, because this is effectively a feminine that sees a masculine and feels like a masculine would always choose their own passion over creating something that lasts. Looking at this energy and feeling the silliness and not feeling like it's not due to a lack of passion for this energy. It is that feeling of feminine looking at masculine and identifying and recognizing that this is a masculine that will always move towards their passion, but not towards actually building something of stability with the feminine. And feminine is almost in that modality right now. And the feminine's only frustration point is recognizing that even as they move forward right now towards new energy, there's a part of them that even as they do this is going to have to take a little bit of a wait and see approach. And the reason the feminine's in this modality right now that is so difficult is due to the fact that the feminine effectively recognizes in this modality right now an aspect of the fact that something about this is always going to require a wait and see. And the frustration for a lot of the feminine right now is feminine feeling like something that they moved away from got really, 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 really close to moving into divine union, and then it was taken from them. Close, but no cigar. So for the feminine, this is almost that, this is like feminine feeling like they're like playing a video game and they got like all the way up to like the last level boss and then boom, like they lost it. And this is the feminine almost feeling again, having that moment of having to kind of go through that process again. Feels very frustrating. But feminine is also just kind of recognizing that they're leaving themselves open to do so. Because feminine, in a way, and I have to stress this is why, feminine is looking at things right now in the sense that they feel like they got very close to a divine union. And it's that moment of observation that is almost amplifying to them that such a thing is possible. They just now understand that they need to find the energy that has the conviction to navigate through that feminine is almost amplifying. And that's coming through by means of, again, conviction. And also someone who, again, has that sense of personal conviction and is not affected by those around them. Now, masculine in separation right now, there is this observation that you may be having with yourself at this moment that is very challenging, because you may be recognizing that your desire is a fickle thing. Desire is a fickle thing, and that the difficulty and difference between moving towards your desire versus what you truly want is all about what you do in that modality. And for a lot of the masculine energy right now, there's a point that you may be feeling frustration, not just at the energy around you, but almost identifying, bringing this lesson back to yourself, almost saying to yourself that even if there was outside energy that influenced you in some capacity, it's because you were susceptible to it. There's a moment of reckoning that we're seeing that a lot of the masculine in separation is having right now in the point of observation and saying, yes, maybe the energy around you influenced you, but ultimately this is the personal accountability we want to see, because this is you identifying and saying your desire betrayed you. Your desire betrayed you. It moved you away from what you truly wanted towards something that was illusory. And it's that moment right now for masculine that is almost, again, reaffirming your own conviction about not letting yourself be kind of like taken off your own path by energy that feels like they recognize when you are susceptible. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Seven of Pentacles in its reversal and our Page of Cups. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Queen of Wands. And we love to see this. Now, masculine and feminine that are in divine union and partnership right now. This is going to be the only disparity point that we're really seeing right now for the energy in divine union and partnership. Because what we're really identifying right now is, even in this modality, masculine and feminine are in a little bit of a different modality, but it's not one that can't be navigated, especially because we've got masculine energy here. Masculine is more in this state or space of coming into a place of easement. Masculine is almost wanting to like find a lot of time right now. Masculine, if anything, is feeling a point of frustration because they're in need right now of trying to find something that feels like a point of easement. Feminine is feeling much more right now like they're trying to get things done. Feminine is much more in that realm and modality of planning right now. Feminine, right? But again, I need to stress that for the energy right now in divine union, this is why you guys this is the battery picking up. This is what you guys give each other that allows you to be so productive even when there's a slowdown. Because effectively what we are identifying at this point is this is, again, masculine. When I say that the net that the divine union creates, even if things aren't moving in the speed or with the regularity that you would desire, masculine's almost like, it's okay. I'm not doing this alone. I've got a feminine around me that's going to help me plan this. I've got a feminine around me that's supporting me in this way. I've got a feminine around me that we can like accommodate and adjust and do what we need to do to help navigate any of these hurdles. Feminine, that they would effectively ideally aspire or desire right now. But again, it's a feminine feeling the confidence of not letting this overwhelm them. This is feminine, again, having learned the lesson of stoicism from the masculine. Feminine saying, I don't need to let myself get over emotional about this. I need to just continue to plot forward. I need to keep my focus. I need to keep my vision. I need to stand in my power, even in the moments that things aren't going well. Masculine, what is happening right now? Masculine in divine unions, learning how to balance their emotions. Again, that carefree attitude. This is masculine learning to let them just feel the things that they're feeling. That's the lesson of the feminine coming in. Feminine is standing in the power that the masculine has taught them about standing in stoicism, even through difficulties and hurdles, and not letting the emotion overwhelm them. So we see that both energies right now are balancing out, calibrating that energy that they're getting from the other one to allow to overcome any of the hurdles. And in a way, that is the point of success. Masculine and feminine trying to come into divine union right now. If the masculine, look at this. This is literally feminine being like, all you need to do is ask me. This is like feminine being like, I can't tell you this is happening. I can't tell you this is happening. If I tell you this is happening, it's just gonna feed into whatever silliness or nonsense is happening around you right now. I can't do it. Feminine is literally watching this masculine being tempted away from the divine union by energy that doesn't want to see them in a committed union. But this is also feminine being like, I can't say a darn word to this person unless they bring it up to me. Unless this person goes, you know what, a weird thing's happening. Feminine's like, yeah, let me hear all about it. Oh, that's weird. They're not keen for you being in divine union. That's weird. I wonder why that is. And feminine being like, do I need, like, again, this is literally feminine being like, if the masculine brings this towards the feminine, it's like feminine being like, well, I'm so glad you told me. Let me give you my insight on it. Let me give you my optics on what's potentially happening here. And this is literally feminine being like, let me write it on the board for you so you can see what's happening. Like literally she's holding the chalk. She's like, let me write it on the board for you so you can see what's happening. Like, of course this is happening. Of course. You know? Oh, they're saying it'd be a lot cooler if you didn't. Yeah, because it'd be a lot cooler, but for who? Right? Feminine can see this right now. And again, if masculine is just like coming towards feminine being like, that's weird. Feminine's like, Sure, that's weird, right? It's almost feminine being like, it's not weird at all. Let me explain it to you. Feminine energy that's in separation. This is feminine energy having that burden of wisdom. And this is why we see that the feminine is, again, they're ready. Feminine's ready to reinvest and go forward at this time. Because this is feminine energy that effectively feels like they learned that valuable lesson. They have that insight. Feminine's moving away from something. And this dark night of soul energy we saw over the last few days was feminine coming into a deeper understanding of the self via the experiences of the past. This is feminine effectively closing the book on something and being like, okay, I've mastered that now. I understand what happened. So that feminine feels more confidence going forward from this point, being able to really kind of, again, secure on looking towards energy that ideally desires and aspires for divine union and is not going to choose their own pleasure over divine union. It's just the point of feminine almost saying, I really hope that energy wouldn't have done that, but clearly that energy, if an energy, it's almost feminine saying, like, if an energy would literally be able to be pulled away from divine union for the sense of like pleasure and easement, this is feminine saying, I can't build anything with an energy like that. I can't build anything with an energy like that because that energy doesn't recognize the value of consistency, of being a constant gardener, even in the sake of energy trying to take things away from you. Masculine, if in separation right now, this could be feeling like a lesson, as I said, that's coming at a very high cost. Because this is now a moment that you, again, this is dual calibration here. This is not only looking right now about how your own actions may have moved you away from a feminine energy, but also a sense of accountability and allowing something to be taken from you inadvertently that you didn't even realize at the time. Again, not having been a constant gardener on your own self, if you will, allowed others to take things from you didn't even realize they were taking. And this is, again, either a moment for masculine of trying to go back towards the feminine that may have inspired this lesson, that may have even tried to tell you when this was occurring, that this was in fact occurring. Or this is a masculine that is utilizing this as a very, very difficult lesson that they are carrying with themselves as they proceed forward from this point. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Page of Cups in combination with our Eight of Cups in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with Five of Wands. Five of Wands. Okay. Clarification for feminine and masculine that are in divine union and divine partnership. This is okay. This isn't going to feel so bad. Because again, divine union and partnership energy here. There's that moment that we're seeing, there's conflict. It's not that there isn't some conflict here. But again, the divine union almost takes that conflict and gives you a sense of encouragement in it. It gives you a point of empowerment. It doesn't feel like you're like fighting for like everything. It feels in a way, it almost like adds a level or degree of easement to the challenging spaces, right? Because it almost like, how do I explain it? It almost like adds a level or degree of like, it takes something that may have felt more difficult. It may have felt more like terrifying, if you will, prior to this. And it almost like adds a level of easement. It adds like almost like a sense of like, dare I say, even play to the challenges that you're experiencing. Because again, it is not, the investiture isn't in the challenging space. It is in the divine union itself. It's almost that creation point that's happening that helps you. Because again, even as you're going through these points that feel like there's struggles, it feels like there are difficulties, you feel that emotional support around you right now. And it's that emotional support that almost encourages and invigorates you to really want to push forward in this capacity. Feminine and masculine that are coming into the divine union frequency. This is the moment. It's not going to feel as playful right now because it feels like the energy around you is effectively challenging the divine union. Feminine is watching this here. This is feminine looking at the energy of the divine union, seeing that challenging space that is forming. And this is, again, a feminine that is trying to see if this is a masculine that is going to choose the energy of delight, of easement, that would rather have them in that fun frequency, or if this is the masculine that's going to fight to protect the divine union. In which case, again, feminine is utilizing this as a moment of identifying whether this is something that they can actually create or whether this is something that is going to move them back into separation. And feminine almost feeling like if they see this, there's not a fixing point here because this is masculine that's effectively shown them that they cannot stay consistent in what they truly desire. Masculine, if you're in this modality right now, this could be feeling like you're going through like something that feels a little push-pull. There's some energy around you that like doesn't feel as positive or productive about what you're bringing forth to them. Is almost trying to potentially feels like it's trying to lure you away from the divine union energy. And in that modality, we again see that this is masculine that is trying to decide if you're going to move further into the divine union, defend and protect what you're trying to create, or if you're going to let this pull you away from it. Welcome back into separation. Feminine in this modality right now, if in separation, we see that this is why you're leaving yourself open to new possibilities, new opportunities, new experiences, because what we're effectively identifying and recognizing at this moment is, again, a situation that we see that feminine is recognizing they can't fight someone if they want to be in this modality. They can't pull someone out of this. They can't pull someone out of their own fun, if you will. They can just observe it. And this is why feminine is seeing this right now and just kind of throwing their hands up and saying, like, even if they can't see it in themselves, I can't be the one to show it to them. Only they can show it to themselves. And that's a feminine potentially moving away from that energy, but not without a feeling of like frustration in the way. And in a way, like almost feeling, again, wanting and desiring to help someone in this facility and capacity, but almost realizing and recognizing to a certain extent that they can't. Masculine, if in separation right now, this is a point of observation on how you may have been moving up until this point. And this is that moment that, again, is a point about conviction. It's a moment of understanding. It's a moment of deeper clarity of oneself. And it is creating a problematic zone right now, potentially for some of the masculine in separation right now, because it's that point of observation on what it may have been limiting you in the past that you did not fully recognize and see. But again, this is now, and it may be coming through right now as masculine, feeling a little bit more, there's frustration here. There's frustration that's potentially rising up around this right now. And I would stress that for some of the masculine in this modality right now, finding productive ways to navigate some of that frustration may be very important, because it is almost amplifying this feeling I'm seeing of wanting to find some way to lash out against something that feels like you can't, it's already like, it's almost like already happened. It's like building a sense of frustration towards something that isn't even in the present, it's in the past. Like that's that moment we see here. It's like masculine, like almost like wanting to put that energy somewhere and not even being able to articulate where to put it, because it's almost that observation of something in the past that has now got you kind of flared up, if you will. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Wands and our Queen of Wands. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Knight of Pentacles. Masculine and feminine in divine union and partnership right now. This is that moment that, again, is really amplifying the power of the divine union energy, because what we really see here as it relates to the divine union energy, and this is what we like to see, masculine and feminine to a certain extent, you're starting to mirror each other again as it relates to where you are in divine union, bearing in mind this is not based on gender but what it feels most aligned to, but it's a positive mirroring, right? You're giving each other encouragement. You're amplifying one another. You're giving each other something that the other one needs, and you're returning it back in kind. But you're both in this modality right now of wanting to communicate, wanting to plan. It's not the fact that there aren't slowdowns here right now. This is almost like wanting to speed things, like mutually now, wanting to like move into that productive space. Feminine energy is channeling a lot of that frustration into planning, into communication, into feeling more secure. Again, coming into that stoic energy. Masculine is taking it in the opposite direction. They're taking that sense of fun and they're adding it to their sense of communication. So this is going to feel like a lot of creative energy and passionate energy coming by means of the partnership to the masculine. So feminine is taking on a lot of that responsibility energy today in terms of planning, doing the things that they need to do, while masculine is channeling a lot of their creativity and passion today. Both of them are doing so for the sake of allowing in new opportunities, new possibilities. This is like literally how you're grounding a lot of that frustration in terms of what's not moving into productive places and spaces, potentially even with the collaborative energy of something around you right now, building new opportunities and experiences for yourselves, or helping navigate energy that's coming towards you to ask or to get this level or degree of insight and experience. Because there is something very experiential coming towards these energies right now if in divine union. Masculine energy and feminine that are trying to come into divine union right now. This is the masculine energy that needs to stand in their power and hold the divine union as around, related to the energy around them at this time. This is masculine presenting the divine union to the energy around them. And this is the moment of, again, the challenging point between the masculine bringing something forward and how it is being received and acknowledged by those around them right now. And this is, again, almost requiring a moment of the masculine showing a level or degree. Again, I know everyone doesn't like the turtle night, but this is exactly what we want turtle nights for. Being steadfast, regardless of what comes towards them in it, because again, this is the point of the masculine recognizing that they're not bringing forward the divine union for the sake of other people. They're doing it for themselves. And that is that moment that we are effectively identifying, that for the energy in this modality right now, this is articulating and amplifying whether there is truly a divine union forming, because it is whether the masculine can hold forward in this way or whether they're allowing it to be eroded and determining and almost saying to themselves, if they can do this, then this is real. If this is a masculine that can hold this forth in the face of a challenge point and stay steady, this is feminine immediately getting validation that this is divine union and not some kind of false promise. Masculine and feminine that's in separation right now, this is why we see that the feminine now is feeling a sense of completion, of a cycle that is coming to a point of closure, because feminine's own understanding of the self, feminine's own value in recognizing that the feminine has this ability. Feminine knows how to stand in their conviction in this way, is what is amplifying to the feminine right now. And feminine is utilizing this as a moment of, again, allowing new energy towards them if in separation. To really identify and articulate, to see the new energy coming towards them right now, if it is truly valuing the desire for a divine union, or if it's just coming to meet their own personal desire. Feminine is literally almost amplifying and allowing that level or degree of openness to a certain extent, simply to start to navigate, to see if the energy around them truly has a higher aspiration, or if they're just moving from a state and space of their own personal pleasure. Masculine in separation right now. This is that moment that may be feeling a little bit frustrating, because this sense of conviction, this sense of purpose you are now ready to bring forth. This circumstance and situation right now is, again, depending on the object of your desire that you're bringing this forth to. There is now a moment of, again, potentially feeling some point of not necessarily knowing if, again, this is either new energy where you recognize there's other energy around them. You're going to have to try to really amplify and articulate that you are someone who is true to their word. Or this is energy that you're trying to go back to right now, recognizing that this energy from the past has not been staying stagnant or static in the space and place in between. That if anything, this energy has a lot of energy around them. And now it's that moment of trying to amplify and say to them that you understand what they were trying to tell you. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Queen of Wands in combination with our Five of Wands. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with King of Swords. Masculine and feminine in divine union and partnership right now. This is, again, that amplification on the power of the divine union energy. Because, again, what do we see here? Look at this power couple we got here. We got a masculine energy that stands in their integrity. What is integrity? Integrity is consistency of your belief, of your desire, of what you're trying to bring forth. That's the did I stutter energy. We've got the consistency of the masculine here in combination with a steadfast feminine that's learned the power of stoicism, allowing themselves to channel what they're trying to bring in, not from a center of their heart space, but again, channeling that into a space or place where they're really activating on what they desire as opposed to what they feel. And that is almost that power couple. And it's not the fact that there aren't difficulties here. It's like, bring me a problem. Let me show you if I can solve it. There isn't a problem we can't solve. And looking at this almost, again, it doesn't feel like a conflict so much as it feels like a problem that needs to be navigated. And it is that mutual work right now in terms of navigating those difficulties or hurdles that, again, doesn't make it, I don't want to say that it doesn't diminish the difficulty, but it does almost create something that feels a bit more like a collaborative project as opposed to something that feels like it is like an invested, like all or nothing battle, if you will. Masculine and feminine trying to come into divine, because again, these energies are working on the same side. This is not a partnership that feels oppositional. These are two energies tackling the problems of the world together. Masculine and feminine that are trying to come into divine union right now. This is literally feminine saying, are you strong enough to be my man? Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. This is feminine literally saying, are you strong enough to do this? Do you have that conviction? I know you care about me, but are you strong enough to perpetuate and to persist this partnership through any of these outside conflicts, through any of these outside hurdles? Do you have what it takes to do this? Are we on this side together? Or are you going to let them drag you back into the fray? Are you going to become a part of the mob? Or are you going to come join me on this side of the divine union and stay here with me as we experience and encounter this and do this work together? Masculine, if you're moving into the divine union frequency right now, this is that moment that almost feels like there's some energy around you, and it almost potentially feels like the energy is making you choose to a certain extent. It may even be feeling like this moment that we're effectively seeing where like the masculine is almost like going, that masculine is almost going through a moment right now that is almost like, what's all the hullabaloo? This is potentially even looking at something right now and being like, why all this oppositional energy? And for masculine, it feels like, again, it's almost like suddenly this hullabaloo has started because of a feminine around them, and suddenly, it's like almost this masculine, and it's like almost a masculine like being a little surprised, feminine being like, I'm not surprised. Like feminine, and again, if masculine is taking this to the, again, If masculine's taking this to feminine being like all this weird stuff, like all this hullabaloo, like this person said this is feminine being like, I'm not surprised, dude. Like, no, I'm not surprised, right? Like feminine being like, let me like, yeah, I think I know what's happening here. While masculine, if again, to the masculine in coming into partnership right now, there could be a moment that almost feels like to a certain extent, and this could be feeling very difficult, like in some metaphysical or tangible way, it almost feels like someone's trying to make you choose between your partnership with someone and what you've got around you at this time. And this is again for the masculine energy that is in coming into that's ready for the divine union frequency, that's found that frequency. This is just something that you're observing it for what it is. It's feeling like it's conflict and being like, did I stutter? Did I stutter? Feminine seeing a masculine saying, did I stutter, is literally a moment of being like, this is the energy ready for divine union. Masculine that doesn't, that stutters, masculine that pulls back, masculine that takes the side of the mob, masculine that goes in this way. Feminine's almost saying that you're part of the rabble now. You've gone back down into the you went back down in the barrel with the crabs, if you will. And this is feminine going, no, you've made your choice. Feminine's moving forward right now to manifest a masculine energy and integrity. Feminine's almost literally saying like that's where they need to be. Masculine, if in separation right now, this is masculine energy. Again, you may have a moment right now where you're recognizing that your integrity is exactly what is going to help you stand out. And this is either, again, a moment where you're learning that integrity at a huge cost. You're realizing and recognizing there was a moment that you were supposed to have that integrity and you did not have it. And this is either a moment that you're going back to a certain manifestation of feminine right now to articulate and amplify to them and say, I see it now. I see what you are trying to tell me. Or this is masculine that is taking this energy right now, this lesson of integrity, towards a new manifestation of feminine. Remembering the lesson of the past that they may have felt that they lost this type of energy from to begin with. The final card for today's spread between our Knight of Pentacles in combination with our King of Swords. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Four of Swords, masculine and feminine in divine union and partnership right now. This is almost this moment, and I have to stress this, feminine today, this is almost going to come through. Feminine's going to work hard today, and then there's going to be a lot of rest coming through. But for the feminine in this modality right now, this is actually like, this is the strength of the partnership, if you will. This is almost, again, having this moment, if in divine union right now, that the divine union itself, the reason that we see that feminine is almost in a point of activation so much is also because feminine realizes that this is a divine union that doesn't require the feminine to work that hard. It's almost a masculine energy around the feminine that almost articulates to the feminine that they can rest, that there are spaces and places that don't demand that the feminine be in this vibration. It's almost like the feminine feeling the choice to move in this capacity because the masculine energy around them is almost amplifying to them and saying you don't need to. This is almost a masculine that's prioritizing, trying to create a space and place for the feminine to rest to such an extent that it almost activates and empowers the feminine, because this is the feminine almost saying like, I know I can rest anytime I want, but that's that moment of feminine being like almost wanting to earn their rest, if you will, in the divine union. But valuing the divine union, because the divine union effectively is masculine energy that prioritizes the feminine having opportunities to rest. Masculine in this modality and vibration right now, this is almost a moment that we are seeing in divine union as well, that also allows you spaces and places to rest. This is the energy that's effectively like this is how it works. Like, isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that when you've got two different energies that say you don't need to do all this yourself, You can take a moment to relax. That's exactly how the other energy goes. That's exactly why I'm doing it, because I know that at any moment I could just ease up and I could have that point of rest. This is almost like the energy, like amplifying the amount that they're doing because they're prioritizing the rest of the other to allow for the other one to have that modality of rest. See how that works? It sounds counterintuitive, but you'd be surprised. Masculine and feminine that are coming into divine union right now. This is almost why we see, again, this is the feminine energy looking right now. And again, if this is happening, this is going to feel like a feminine that can finally breathe a sigh of relief. This is going to feel like the feminine breathing a sigh of relief for the first time in a long time, especially over the last few weeks, because this has been a bit of a nail biter for energy coming into divine union right now. Because this is a feminine energy that is seeing the masculine have these other possibilities. It's like coming towards them in the face of the divine union forming. And if this is, again, feminine energy that is seeing a masculine that is holding with integrity, then feminine is saying that they're seeing a masculine that recognizes that you can't just hold forward the divine union. You also have to protect it at all costs. And this is feminine feeling like the divine union's forming, because feminine doesn't feel like they need to do that at every moment. This is almost a masculine that's showing them through their actions and their words, I got this. This matters as much to me as it matters to you. I'm not going to let anything outside of the divine union impact the divine union. This is feminine relying on the stability and feeling the weight of a masculine that they can trust them, even when the feminine isn't watching. This is a feminine that knows the security of even if something were to happen, this is a masculine that would just bring it to them, because it's almost a masculine, again, even if this is happening right now, this is masculine articulating and bringing it back to the feminine, because this is not clearly happening when the feminine's present. This is literally the feminine seeing a masculine that's bringing it back to them. This is like masculine coming back and being like, this is what happened when you weren't here. And this is feminine feeling that security of knowing that this is a masculine that's bringing forward to them things in the face and space in between. Even in the gaps, it's like the feminine sees that this is the divine union, because the masculine is prioritizing the divine union, even when the divine union doesn't even in the, that's how it's real, because masculine is telling what's happening about the divine union at spaces and places that the feminine isn't. It's like the divine union was present somewhere you weren't. Let me tell you what happened to the divine union while you were out, right? It's like, again, like the divine union, like a child being like, let me tell you what happened to the divine union while I was here, while I was there. Because it's something you're creating between you both. Masculine. If you're feeling this right now, this could almost be a moment, and again, it can almost feel some energy around you that, again, is almost like coming towards you from any point it feels like it's against it. This is masculine almost looking at things and being like, if energy is trying to have any oppositional point, this is why it's like water off the duck, because it doesn't even feel like it bears arguing. It's almost looking at someone and being like, give it a rest. Give it a rest. This is almost the masculine looking at that. If someone's trying to like navigate or disrupt or dismantle their divine union, almost trying to say to them, give it a rest. Because this is a masculine that almost is stopping it before it starts, because it's a masculine that now sees what is happening. This is a masculine that's almost like, I'm not invested. This is like literally, this is going to feel like a bit of an epiphany moment for the masculine if this is happening right now, because it's almost a masculine being like, especially if someone tries to push on them on this, especially if someone tries to push on them about what they brought forward, this is almost masculine going, give it a rest. I said what I said. Did I stutter? This is what I'm moving towards right now. And this is a masculine almost saying like, if anyone has a problem with it, you better get used to it, because it's not going anywhere. That's literally how the masculine, I have to stress here, this isn't a masculine that feels like they're taking up a call to arms about it. This isn't even a masculine that like was putting any weight and effort into fighting against it. This is almost a masculine holding firm and saying, you better get used to it. It's okay to feel like that, but it's not going anywhere. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now is High Priestess in its reversal. Now, masculine and feminine that are in divine union and partnership, the only thing that we're effectively seeing right now that is a bit of that challenging space, if you will, has to do with the fact that we're identifying that even in the divine union right now, feminine has a lot of self-doubt that still comes into play. We're seeing here that this is moments here and opportunities that some of the experiences that feminine's happening right now is making them doubt their own self or their own purposes. But we see here that the value and importance of the divine union is almost amplifying to the masculine energy around them right now, furthering the feminine energy's own confidence in the self, if you will. We're almost seeing here that the masculine energy right now is almost trying to say to the feminine, you need to come into that point of correction. You need to trust yourself as much as I trust you. Masculine and feminine that are trying to come in divine union right now, it is the energy around the masculine that is trying to sway them away from the feminine. And for some of that energy, you're slipping back into separation right now because, again, it's like that poison pill in your ear. It's like that poison is being slipped in and you're falling for it. You're taking it. You're pulling away from the feminine. Boom, you're back into separation. The other part of this is almost a moment, again, feminine is feeling a point if you're trying to come into divine union right now. Feminine feels that anxiety and seeing this happening with the masculine, knowing they can't stop it. Knowing that feminine can't articulate and amplify to the masculine and say, can't you see that they're trying to turn you against being in divine union? That this has little to do with me and more to do with the fact that they don't want you in divine union? Feminine can't say anything about it unless the masculine brings it towards them. Masculine and feminine in separation. This is feminine feeling this. This is almost feeling that frustration of a feminine feeling like they not only, again, wanted to build a divine union with someone, they may have even tried to amplify and articulate to them that what was happening, but feeling the weight of not being able to be heard or seen by the energy that they were effectively trying to do that with. And this feels very bittersweet for that energy right now because we're specifically seeing that the feminine is observing this. While for masculine energy in separation right now, there could be this moment that is being articulated and amplified as it relates to the fact of feeling and seeing that something about the lesson that you're learning right now was something that was trying to be articulated to you, that you weren't able to receive from the feminine at the time that they tried to deliver it. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and receiving it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video. And if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber ID at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never PM you. I will never DM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I want to thank you guys so much for being here with me today and receiving these messages. And we will do this again